Hey everyone, welcome to week 4 of CRJ 490, the capstone seminar in criminal justice. This week's discussion revolves around building contingencies and planning for events that maybe you didn't expect or that you're hoping don't occur. Any good leader knows that when you're making a decision, you have to consider as many variables and possibilities as you can. Otherwise, there's an old adage that goes along with leaders is that failing to plan is planning to fail. And if you don't plan properly, it's just as if you didn't plan. So when you're thinking about a decision that needs to be made and you're gathering all these different inputs and ideas, likely from other people in your organization, but also from your own experience and knowledge. It's easy for new leaders to suffer from something called decision paralysis. And essentially, what that is either because of internal stressors or a desire to be right 100% of the time or a fear of getting somebody into a situation that they don't want to put them into. They suffer from this decision paralysis and that they don't want to make a decision quickly or make a decision at all because they're afraid of making the wrong decision. It can also kind of slow down the decision making process in inexperienced leaders because when you take time to consider so many options, if you're not doing it quickly and efficiently, it can really draw out a decision that needed to be made pretty quickly. So when you're thinking about a decision that needs to be made, think about what the likely outcomes of that decision are. Now, you could sit there and talk about what ifs all day long. What if the decision causes this? How likely is it though? When you're thinking about how likely it is, that will help you rank and prioritize the outcomes to determine if you need to actually consider them. Because if it's a 1 in a million chance of something happening, maybe it's not worth spending time planning a course of action for that event. You need to also think about factors that are beyond your control. A lot of times in law enforcement, we can't control much of anything outside of our own reach. So we can't necessarily control many of the environmental factors that go into our decision making process. And we have to account for that. That's part of coming up with these contingencies. So if this happens, then we do this. But you also have to think about ways that you can influence events and contributing factors. So if you know that it's a possibility that something may happen one way or the other, think about ways that you can influence that possibility to be to your benefit. But really, the biggest lesson that I would teach to a new leader or to a lower level leader in an organization is don't be afraid to make decisions. Contingencies allow you the freedom to make a decision and move on the flow. So as things develop, you can change your course of action. There are millions and millions of leaders who have failed because once they make a decision, they commit to it and are afraid to change because it looks like they're being wishy-washy or they're not committed to their values or whatever the case may be. When in reality, changing mid-course is actually a sign of maturity because it shows that you can think um, on the fly and proactively look to the future for what needs to be done. So, just some things to think about this week as you're discussing how you plan for contingencies. There's some more readings in the text, and if you have any questions, feel free to reach out. But good luck this week.